Episode 3 of Virgin River Season 6 starts with Lizzie and Hope visiting Jack and Mel at the barn to talk about the wedding. With Hope in charge, the wedding has become the whole town's affair. According to her, it might as well be Virgin River's royal wedding. Jack and Mel are skeptical of all the new plans, but trust Hope knows what she is doing. Mel promises to figure out who she wants to walk her down the aisle, and Jack is unsure if he wants a marine wedding. They have 2 days before the programs are printed. As for the sewing circle, they wonder why Muriel canceled her date. As they chat away at the restaurant, Ricky's return turns their attention. He has finished his training and will be deployed in 2 weeks. Jack is happy to see Ricky back, but he is also worried, and so is Liddy. Meanwhile, Everett and Mel go for a walk and talk more about Sarah. Everett reveals that he and Sarah had an on-and-off relationship over the years until she got married. However, when Sarah had a miscarriage, it soured her marriage, and she turned to Everett to heal her pain. In the end, Mel was conceived, but Sarah chose her husband, and Everett had to let her go even though he knew she was pregnant. He admits to Mel that knowing he will miss out on her life was the hardest thing he has done in his life. At the clinic, Denny starts his first day as an intern, and Vernon colludes with a patient to prank him. At the same time, Muriel worries about the lump in her breast. When Mel returns from her walk with Everett, she asks her to check it out. After the examination, Mel advises Muriel to get a biopsy but tries not to alarm her. Ricky stops by to say hello to Lizzie and is surprised she is pregnant. They talk about all the new developments in their lives. Ricky seems caught off guard by Lizzie's sense of maturity. He makes an awkward comment about her pregnancy, and she gets defensive. As much as Ricky acts like he is cool with being deployed, it seems he is leaning on alcohol to hide his fear. At the fire station, Brady offers to help Lark's mom. She acts like she is against it, but this has always been her plan. Brady is called away to rescue a kid who has fallen into a sinkhole, and they table the conversation. After saving the boy, Brady runs into one of the guys from the pot farm. The man was surprised by Lark's claim that her mom was sick, since he sees her every week and she looks fine. She even outdrinks him while playing cards. Back in court, Jenkins is surprised that Preacher rejected his deal and is taking the stand. Once Preacher takes the stand, he admits to burying Wes and narrates the abuse Paige faced in her relationship with Wes. He also explains how Wes manipulated the system as a police officer to paint Paige as a bad mother and himself as a victim. During the recess, Jack calls Mel to fill her in and check on her. She informs him that she wants Everett to walk her down the aisle, but she is worried about Vernon's reaction. At the same time, Jack runs into Calvin and Charmaine at the court. They are there for a custody hearing, and Charmaine thinks it is her karma to have to deal with Calvin. Luckily, she has been granted full custody, but Calvin won't stay away from her and the boys. After recess, Bree gives her closing speech and tells the jury how Preacher was a hero who saved a life. Based on how she speaks about Paige's situation, it seems she has been there before. Later, Jack heads home and gets an impromptu visit from Ricky. Ricky admits he has been struggling ever since he learned of his deployment, but seeing how Lizzie has changed, makes him question if he would have a chance to start a family of his own someday. Jack advises him to talk to someone and reminds him a Marine doesn't act in the absence of fear, but in the face of it. At Bree's house, things get awkward when she tries to seduce Mike, and he asks about her sexual assault. He is only trying to be considerate and supportive, but Bree doesn't want to talk about her trauma. As everyone waits for the verdict, they worry about Preacher's fate. The jury comes back with a unanimous verdict, and Bree convinces Jenkins to drop the first-degree murder charges and give Preacher 300 hours of community service for illegal disposal of human remains. With Preacher finally free, the town meets at the restaurant to celebrate. Lark ends up a bit late and Bree and Brady get a chance to talk for a while. Later, Lark makes a weird comment, thanking Bree for letting Brady go. Brady asks to visit Lark's mom, but she insists that her mom needs treatment first. Mel tells Vernon that Everett will walk her down the aisle, and he says it is okay. Mel asks him to read a poem at her wedding instead. Vernon later shares his disappointment about it to Hope. Liddy talks to Jack about her fear that Ricky won't return home, but he assures her Ricky will be back. At the end of the celebration, they decide it is time to throw Jack and Mel a bachelor and bachelorette party. The episode ends with Calvin outside the restaurant. What is he up to? Vernon was disappointed that he didn't get to walk Mel down the aisle. However, he respects her decision to have Everett walk by her side and agrees to read a poem instead. He truly cares for her and wants the best for her. However, he won't tell her why he doesn't like Everett. This episode also gave us closure to Preacher's case. Wes's case has been hanging over his head for a long time. Now that he won't be spending time in prison, he is free to rebuild his life with Kaya. We then have Bree and Brady. These two are still not over each other. Their conversations are awkward and yet flirty. I think they deserve a second chance, but Bree is with Mike and he is a good guy. Of course, Brady is with the conniving Lark, but let us hope he finds out the truth before he shells out the money for her mom's sickness.